I couldn't either.
Yeah, you did though.
There it is.
There it is.
Yeah, there it is.
Oh,
right
there it
there.
comes. Yeah.
Shady. Give me some volume, Shady. Let me hear some volume.
I didn't ask you for any lip. I asked you if you had a drink.
I know, Tom, but... Well, gee, I wish...
There you go, that wishing stuff again. I wish you wasn't wishing well. That I could tie a bucket to you and sink you.
What a dick.
Wow, that's kind of an asshole
She doesn't
thing
even
to
say
say.
anything.
Someone you like better.
So she says that, and he sticks the grapefruit right in her face.
Wow, that is kind of that's a dick move. That.
It's a ruthless fucking scene. Horrible.
Wow.
Now try to do that today. Maybe, have some, name a guy who's a
Ryan
Bradley
Gosling.
Cooper.
Okay.
Yeah. One of those guys. One of them handsome fellas. Do it to some beautiful, young, name a girl who's a good...
Emma Stone.
Yeah. How about that? Sucks a grapefruit in her face. People be like,
And
what the fuck movie is this?
And then she just kind of cries.
And she doesn't even react. Oh.
That's
Men beat the fuck out of women back then. It was normal.
Yeah.
It's horrible. So I think what those things represent, obviously it's fiction, right? But what it also represents is what was acceptable culturally to witness in a film. That is not acceptable culturally to witness in a film now, especially from the fucking hero of the show. I think today we're more aware than ever before of how people feel, of how people think, of what's acceptable, what's not, and what was wrong with the way people used to behave. Whereas it was just, we were operating on momentum in the 30s and 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s. The internet came along and people were just sharing information at this unprecedented pace.
Yeah. I just found out about John Lennon.
What about him?
That he admitted to beating his girlfriends.
Really?
Did you
Maybe
know
he heard Yoko Ono sing. You gotta give him cut him a break.
But it was when he was younger, and he said, I have to make up for the things. I can't deny what I did. I have to make up for it. I was like, whoa, you don't want to hear that,
I
right?
read that about Hendrix too.
No.
Yeah. See if you can find that, dude. The Hendrix story is very disturbing because Hendrix might have been murdered. It's very possible that Hendrix was murdered. You don't have to imagine John Lennon beat women and children. It was just a fact. Beat children? Who did he beat? What children? Terrible things the famous asshole did during his life. Is that written by a woman? Hashtag me too. Yeah, it was a different time. I bet a lot of people did terrible things back then.
I guess he wasn't one of his kids. He wasn't nice to. I forget which one, Julian or the other. Anyway, it's tough. It's not. You don't want to. Steve Martin's dad. Did you ever read his book? He talked about how his dad hit him a little too hard one time, and they were never friends after that.
Jesus.
And did you get hit as a kid growing up?
No, I didn't get hit. But my mother
really?
did.
Oh, your mother got hit?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, my mother got hit by my dad, but then she left my dad.
Oh, your dad didn't hit you?
Yeah, completely made up. Jimi Hendrix's Australian girlfriend Savage's new film, which shows rock star beating up her character. Oh, okay. All my side's inaccuracy has been criticized by Hendrix's friends. His former girlfriend, disgusted by scenes depicting domestic violence, never consulted her about her portrayal. Okay, so that might not be true. But there was another, someone had said that there was a situation where Jimmy was in the other room and he hit his girlfriend. Like someone was talking about it from a first-person perspective. I don't know if that was the girlfriend. The fascinating thing about Jimmy was that he had this gangster manager who had him kidnapped. His manager had him kidnapped so that he could release him, so that he could rescue him, so that he could keep Jimmy on as a client. And this is all that came from a really recent book that was one of the gangster guy's bodyguards, like one of the people that worked for him.
So
very fascinating.
So he was afraid that Jimmy was going to get rid of him as a manager, so he engineered a kidnapping that he could solve, and then Jimmy would feel indebted and bring him on as his manager.
And this guy who wrote this book, I don't know how much of this is real and how much of it's bullshit, but thinks that they murdered Jimi Hendrix, and then right after that, the girlfriend of Jimi Hendrix was thrown off of a roof. Yeah.
Really?
And they said she committed suicide, but he says they threw her off a roof, and she knew about Jimmy's murder.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Stranger
things have happened than that, Joe.
Well, that whole business, in many ways, look at Suge Knight, right? That whole business, the music business, has been run by gangsters for a long fucking time. Look at Phil Spector, right? The guy who shot that woman in the face. Like, he used to put guns in people's mouths all the time. That business was run by gangsters forever. So the idea of Jimi Hendrix's manager being a gangster is not outside the realm of possibility. You go back to the Ciro's nightclub days, place where the Comedy Store is today. That was run by Bugsy Siegel. It was a fucking gangster joint. Well, that's where they had musicians play, and fucking Jerry Lewis and Dean Martin played there. I mean...
Oh, really?
That was run by fucking murderers. That was the one reason why everybody was willing to believe that the Comedy Store was haunted. If you look at, like, the haunted...
Watch out, vehicle stopped on shoulder ahead.
Directory of places. The Comedy Store is like one of the top places on the list in Hollywood. There it is.
I'm pretty
Ciro's
sure it's
nightclub. That's the fucking main room, man. I perform there. I'm going there tonight. I'll be standing right there where that guy is. I mean, it's crazy that the store is essentially the same fucking place as it was then.
Wow.
Yeah.
I believe it's haunted.
Dude, they killed a shitload of people in that place. And but that's the front door.
Oh, look how nice that looks.
Isn't it amazing?
Yeah, that's
now it's
really...
all dark and evil.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I was eviler then. Now we're just telling jokes.
That was fun that night. I haven't done many sets at the Comedy Store in Los Angeles.
Oh, it's the best.
It was a blast. I really enjoyed
best.
that. Sam Tripoli, thanks for bringing me on that show.
I'm doing his show tonight.
Oh, okay.
His show tonight's in the main room. The place is the best. It's soaked with history. Look at that. Humphrey Bogart. I just smacked my girlfriend in the face with a grapefruit. Look at him. Cigarettes. Smoking cigarettes. Nobody worked out.
Nobody worked
Everybody
out.
looked like shit. Look at Ronald Reagan. Yeah.
There's Ronald Reagan.
Who's the girl?
I don't know. That's Dean Martin, right?
Nancy Reagan.
That's Nancy?
No.
That's what the picture says.
Really?
It says Nancy and Ronald Reagan.
Wow, she got weird
Jeannie
looking.
Beager Martin.
Jeannie Beager.
That's Dean Martin, right?
Dean Martin. Wow, Dean Martin looked weird too.
It's just a weird angle.
He's probably hammered. Couldn't keep his eyes open.
So, like, I always wanted to be those guys. Like, I wanted to be Dean Martin. I wanted to be the Rat Pack. I wanted to be...
why don't you be Jimmy Dore?
Ray Liotta.
You have a good chance of being Jimmy Dore.
Well, it's hard to find out who that guy is.
Oh, I see. But if you're on the outside, maybe there's a kid right now listening going, God damn it, Jimmy Dore, I want to be you. And you don't even know who the fuck you are.
Well,
Shit.
you know, have you ever thought about this? I've thought about it like this. If somebody would have whispered in my ear when I was 18 years old, you know how I had a lot of anxiety as a kid, like what am I going to do with my life?
Right.
I had no role models to do anything. I grew up in this blue-collar neighborhood. I didn't want to do anything anybody fucking did there.
Me too. Same thing. Same story.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
That's how you become a comic.
Yeah, and that's how I became a comic. And if somebody would have whispered in my ear when I was younger, like, hey, this is how it's going to work out, I'd have been a lot more relaxed.
Yeah, but then you would have made it.
Probably
you wouldn't
not.
have made it. No, you had that anxiety is important. The horrible feeling of insecurity, it all pans out because that makes you work. Like, you don't want to be comfortable. That's one of the things that I like to do things that I'm not good at. Mm-hmm. It's one of the reasons why I like to do yoga. It's one of the reasons why I like to run hills. It's one of the reasons why I do things like archery and bow hunting and stuff like that. It's 'cause it's fucking hard to do. So it's humbling. Jiu-jitsu, it's very humbling. And in doing these humbling things, you're always insecure. You're always struggling. You have to somehow or another constantly be in a state of struggle. But that doesn't mean you have to be in a state of struggle all day, all your life. But you have to understand what that feeling is. Because that feeling is the only way you progress. It's the only way you advance. It's the only way you get better at things. You get better at yourself. You get better at life. You have to go through that all the time. It's a muscle that has to constantly be exercised. It's like you're talking about doing stand-up, like Jerry Seinfeld saying, take 4 days off. And you feel it, take 5 days off. People know it. Yeah, that's the same thing with struggle. You got to constantly be engaged in improvement and trying to figure out how to improve things. That's how you advance. That's how you advance technique. That's how you advance thought. That's how you advance ideas and bits. That's how they progress. You have to feel that fucking uncomfortable feeling that everybody wants to avoid. Everybody wants to feel comfortable.
Well,
fuck all that.
So when I was on the road, you know, when you were talking about how putting together your next special and how you're going to do it,
terrified,
and all you have to go through. You know, when I was on the road, I remember, like, even in El Paso, Texas, I'd be working, and I would do 2 shows, and I would go home afterwards to the condo, and I would listen to both shows before I went to sleep, you know? Now, I know most guys didn't do that, you know, but I just had to do it, and it was almost like I was embarrassed to let the other comics know I was listening to my set, but it was like, just like that, it's like, I don't want to be stuck here. I have some place I want to be.
Right.
And I got to get there. And if this helps me get there, I want to get there. I want to figure out what the fuck, how do I get to be like that guy? How do I get to be like Jerry Seinfeld? How do I get to be like Brian Regan? How do I get to be like those people I want to be like? And, you know, I just studied them, and so it's that whole thing of you have to have a desire to be somewhere that you're not.
Yeah. You have to, that's one way to look at it, but for me, I feel like that takes care of itself if you continue to improve. So my thought has always been on the thing itself, like the craft, the bits,